Here, I'm going to do a little balancing sequence for you. So starting with the feet together, or as close together as you can without pain. Think about squeezing the outer thighs together, lifting the abdomen. Lowest part of abdomen draws toward lower back, just below navel draws in and up. If it's available to you and necessary, front ribs draw together and root back. Let's bring the fingertips in line with shoulders, squeeze the fingers together, thumb on the inside for more, and some forward circles with the arms. So we'll start with a little bit of stretching for the upper body before we start to balance. Try to keep the ears right over the shoulders, squeezing the thighs together, the knees together, the ankles together. And changing direction. Firming the legs, firming the arms. Three more. Good. Fingertips touch shoulders, forward circles. Continuing to squeeze the legs, thinking about squeezing with each of the fingertips evenly. Change direction. Try to keep your gaze fixed on one spot or close your eyes. Try to push into every toe evenly, maybe even the baby toes. Three more. Rest the arms beside you. Separate the feet by a hip's distance. Spread the toes again. Hands on your hips. Lift the abdomen, firm the thighs, and circles. I'm not doing much of a warm-up and doing some standing poses. This is a wonderful way to go. Heating up the shoulders and the upper back. And then warming the hips and the lumbar spine too, for the lower back. Go the other way. Try to push into the four corners of the feet evenly, the inner heels, the outer heels, the big toe mound, the baby toe mound, the toes included, every toe evenly rooting. Three more. Stopping with the circles, feet coming back together. Spreading the toes yet again. Lift the right heel. You can keep your toes on the floor, lifting the chest, lifting the abdomen. You can have just the tip of the big toe on the floor. You can flex your foot, spread your toes. You can lift your thigh. And the more you lift your thigh, the knee goes higher than the hip. Focus on the hip not lifting, just the thigh. So the hip drops, the thigh lifts. We focus on pushing into the feet evenly, even though the right foot isn't touching the floor, or maybe it is, both are good. If this is quite comfortable, hands can touch the knee, or you can interlace over the knee. If it's still quite comfortable, pointing and flexing the right ankle. Upper arm bones into sockets, try not to let one shoulder be higher than the other. And pointing circles. Spreading the toes of the standing foot, go the other way, and the circles are optional. Flexing, curling, pointing, flipping. Flexing, curling, pointing, flipping. One more. Good. And then releasing your hand, see if you can straighten your knee, drop the hip, and lower slowly. Feet together, lift the left heel. Either staying here, trying to have the hips equal distance from the floor, having the tip of the big toe on the floor, squeezing with the fingers and elbows, or maybe flexing your foot and hovering. pushing into the right toes firmly in order to do so. If you need more, you incrementally lift your leg little by little by little by little. If it's quite comfortable, hands can touch leg, or you can interlace over the shin. Try to do left thumb and forefinger on top. Now notice, is one hip higher than the other? Is one hip lower than the other? Try to even it out. Same with the shoulders. Is one shoulder higher than the other? Is one shoulder further forward than the other? Create as much symmetry as you can, even with the asymmetry of the posture. Point and flex. Elbows pull apart slightly. Fingertips pressing into backs of hands. Thumbs can touch or thumbs can reach. They can cross, whatever works. And circles. Go the other way. And this sort of simple standing balance work translates to every other posture. Makes them a little bit easier. Creates more strength and stability in the ankles, the knees, the hips. Now flexing, curling, pointing, and flipping. Flexing, curling, pointing, flipping. Flex, curl, point, and flip, and then flexing. Now see if you can take your hands back to your hips, straighten out that knee, hip dropping, spread your toes, and then lower as slow as you can. Planting the feet. Now separate the feet, bend the knees, relax. Good, now straightening up. Hands to the hips, feet together if you can. It's always okay to do this series with the feet apart though. Lift the right heel, take the right toes behind you, push into the toes. This is option one, and I'll show it from the side in a moment. You can either stay here, have the tip of the big toe on the floor, or bend your knee and bring your heel towards your buttocks. Make sure the hips are equal distance from the floor. The knee is not pointing out, pointing to the ground. If you still needed more, you could point your foot, you could clasp the ankle. In this case, it would be kicking your foot into your hand. I'll show you what that looks like. You'd be pushing your foot into your hand like so. If that is quite comfortable, then the heel can draw toward the buttocks. If that is still comfortable, then the thigh starts to go back, but we don't lean forward here. Abdomen lifting, chest lifting, and remember, all of these versions will provide benefit. And then again, releasing, hands to the hips, see if you can draw the thigh forward, see if you can straighten the knee, drop the hip, and then lower your leg nice and slow. The other side. Left heel can lift, you can remain here, you can take the left toes behind you, pushing into the toes, lengthening the spine. You can have just the tip of the big toe on the floor. You can bring your heel towards your buttocks. You can point your toes. You can clasp the outer edge of the foot or ankle. If you choose this option, you must kick your foot into your hand. If you still want more, heel draws toward buttocks. If you still want more, the abdomen lifts, and we start to take the thigh back. Now the trick here is not to go forward with the torso, but to keep the torso upright. Abdomen lifting, shoulders stacking. Then releasing, draw the thigh forward, maybe straighten, and your heel can be here, it can be here, it can be here, wherever works, and then lower as slow as you can. Good. And then separating the feet, bend the knees, relax. Now one more round of hip circles, this time a little bit different. Make sure the feet are a hip's distance apart. Spread your toes evenly, check them out. Now take the right hip forward and back, left hip forward and back. Right hip forward and back, left hip forward and back. Try to keep the ears right over the shoulders, not tucking, not lifting, right in the middle. Keep all of the toes on the floor. Good, now the opposite. Right hip goes back and forward, left hip goes back and forward. Right hip back and forward, left hip back and forward. And then next time your sides are even, stopping with the circles. And then from here, we're gonna do one last standing balance posture. And I'll turn sideways so you can see what I'm up to. Hands are on the hips, chest is lifting, belly is lifting, you're bending your knees slightly. And you'll take your right, let's start with the left side because that's what we've been up to. So left foot is your standing foot, right foot comes behind you. Daisy. Chest is lifting, belly is lifting, slight bend in those knees. Start to pivot forward with the right foot pointed. And as you start to pivot forward, the right thigh will lift and the torso will come closer to the floor. And we're trying to squeeze our elbows together. You're dropping the right hip as you lift the right thigh. And you can be anywhere here. So this is a great version. This is a great version. Right? They're all fantastic. Try to take 5 more breaths, playing with your balance and where it happens to be today. Every day will be different and that is normal. To come out, bend the knees slightly. See if you can draw that right knee in front of you. Straighten it out. Release. Now bring the weight into the right foot, lift the left heel. Now keep in mind if you're looking for more depth, you can go ahead and clasp the elbows behind the back. That's a really nice version as well. If you'd like more than hands on hips. Left toes behind you, chest lifting, belly lifting, slight bend in the knees. Start to pivot forward, pointing the toes of the foot you're lifting. Try to lift your thigh and not your hip. Chest lifts. Shoulders lift, we look forward, we look a little up even, baby. Try not to let the toes point to your left, point them toward the back, knee pointing toward the floor. Hands can be on hips or you can clasp elbows, whatever suits. 5 more breaths. And then come out as slow as you can. Try to draw your thigh forward, straighten out the knee, and release. Good, now from here, coming into Malasana or a squat. Toes and knees pointing out slightly. You have 2 ways to get there. If you know it's comfortable for you, you can come through this first option. Fingers will reach forward, the knees will bend over the feet. The hips will drop and we'll walk the fingers forward, letting the head hang. If you know the posture is not as comfortable for you, then this is the best way to come down. Toes and knees pointing forward, bend the knees, hands on hips, come forward slowly. One hand down, other hand down, one knee down, other knee down. Come onto the left hip, bring the feet forward. And you can either hang out with toes and knees pointing the same way, chest lifting, or you can play with a block. Having one behind you or a firm cushion, lifting up, coming onto that height, and having the feet either farther from you for less or closer to you for more, or somewhere in between. You can either hold on to the legs or start to reach forward, depending on what happens to be available to you today. If you're doing the version where you are not resting on the block, the heels might lift, the heels might drop, or both are normal. Let the head hang and take 5 more breaths, maybe 10. Feel the back of your body expanding and contracting with every round of breathing. And When you're ready to come out, slowly transitioning off of the block or one hand behind, other hand behind, coming onto the seat, extending the legs. And if you were on a block, it would look a little bit more like this. You'd have the block under the pelvis. You'd want to walk the feet a bit more forward, use the strength of the arms to slide off of the block, come on to the mat, place the block beside you, and then again, extend those legs. So from here, hands beside you, you can point the fingers forward for more wrist stretch, out or back. You can even take the hands further back for less. Point and flex. Good, and circles. Go the other way. Flexing, curling, pointing, flipping. One more. Good. And then rest. All right, from here, Shavasana. I'm gonna come in this way because of the daisy back there. So make sure you've got lots of space behind you. You don't have any blocks or books or dogs in your way. Come down slowly, push into the feet. Once you're all the way down, extend the legs, let the legs relax out to the side, extend the arms. I like to push into my elbows, lift the shoulders and roll them under a little bit. Clench and relax the palms. Lengthen the back of the neck, and then close the eyes. Concentrate on your breathing. Concentrate on stillness. It is very normal to have the urge to fidget and adjust the body during Shavasana practice. Do your best to resist that urge and concentrate on stillness. One of my favorite ways to facilitate concentration here is to notice the stillness, the heaviness of the body, but to concentrate on the movement of the lungs within the stillness of the body. This can help to prevent additional fidgeting. Every time you exhale, following that exhalation with your mind. Slowly beginning to deepen your breathing, waking the body from the inside, moving the fingers, open and closing the eyes, taking a stretch with the arms overhead, and then starting to bend the knees and walk the feet towards you. Rolling to your right side, pushing yourself up, coming into a seated position that feels good. And then we'll finish with a group Om. Well, you, me, and Daisy. Deep breath in. Om. Thank you so much for sharing your yoga. Namaste.